Hello children, welcome back to our science class. Last class we finished our third chapter and we can check the assignments first. So the first question was, how does our tongue recognize taste? When food is in our mouth, the tongue senses the taste using the taste buds. The taste buds convert the taste into a message and send it to the brain. Thus we recognize the taste. Next, second question. Skin is called the body's first line of defense. Why? Skin is called the body's first line of defense because it protects our internal organs from dirt, germs and injuries. I hope you all understood the answers, and if any correction is there, correct it. So now we are going to a new chapter, and that chapter name is Food and Health. So mainly we are studying about nutrients in the food. Every day we are eating food. So why we are eating food? You will suddenly say, for getting energy. Yes, food is mainly for getting energy, but at the same time food is actually protecting us from various diseases also. That means if we are taking the food in a proper way, it will protect us from various diseases and it will give us energy and it will make us very healthy person. So now we can check which are the or what are the components of food that will make our life very healthy and very easy. So in our food there are special components are there. They are known as nutrients. They are actually nourishing materials, especially nourishing materials. They gives us energy. At the same time they are protecting our body from diseases, and they will also help us to make our body very health and fit. So now we can check which are that nutrients. So there are 5 major nutrients. They are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and along with that water and roughage. So now we can study detailedly about each nutrient. So the first one is carbohydrate. So the carbohydrate is also known as energy giving nutrients. So from the name itself, energy giving nutrients, we can understand that what is the function of carbohydrates. They are actually giving us energy. So we can check which are the sources, which are the major sources of carbohydrate. Rice, cereals, potato, fruits, etc. And they provide energy to work and play. So they are mainly for giving energy. Then next is fats. So fats are also known as energy giving nutrients. Both carbohydrate and fats are known as energy giving nutrients because they are mainly giving us energy for work and play. Then fats help stay warm also. It keeps our body warm. Then we can check which are the main sources. Milk and its products. It is known as milk and its products is known as dairy products. Milk and the products from milk are known as dairy products. And oil, nuts, meat, etc. Next nutrient is proteins. Proteins are also known as what? Body building foods. So proteins, we can see the main source are meat, fish, nut, milk, pulses, etc. So these proteins, it is very essential for our body. Especially for the growing children like you need more protein than the adults. And a sportsman need more amount of protein. They need a protein rich food for their health and to make their bones healthy, and also to build their muscles, they need more protein. So that is why it got another name, body building food. It builds muscles and repair worn out cells and tissues. It also helps us to what? It also helps to repair the damaged cells and tissues also. So what is the main function of protein? The main function is body building. At the same time it helps to repair the damaged cells and tissues. Then the sources are meat, fish, nut, milk and pulses. And next we can check next category is about vitamins and minerals. So in vitamins, they are mainly seen in fruits and leafy vegetables. Mainly we can see the vitamins in fruits, vegetables, milk, egg, milk, egg, fish, etc. So they are very essential for our body. They protect us from various kinds of diseases. Vitamins in a particular quantity is needed by our body for the growth of our body, and also it will make our body very healthy also. So to avoid any certain type of diseases, special kinds of vitamins are very essential for our body. There are different types of vitamins: vitamin A, vitamin B, C, K and D. Vitamin E is also there. So these all vitamins are very essential for our body. So these are available from our food items. So if you are properly taking these food items, we can avoid many kinds of diseases. Next is minerals. So minerals examples are potassium and calcium. These are examples for minerals. Iron also is an example. So these minerals are also needed for the proper growth and strength of our body. So the same sources, that means milk, egg, fish, leafy vegetables are very rich in minerals. It helps, vitamins and minerals help our body fight against diseases and maintain good health. So for fighting against diseases, vitamins and minerals are very essential, and also it helps us to maintain a good health condition also. So these are the 5 major nutrients: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins and minerals. So along with these nutrients, our body needs water and roughage also. Water. So our body, 70% of our body is made up of water. It helps in digestion and removal of waste from our body in the form of sweat and urine. So after digestion, a lot of waste products are also in our body. So it will remove from our body in the form of sweat and urine. So this is done by the help of water. Then roughage. Roughage means this is the fibrous indigestible material get from plants. So mainly we will get the roughage from the plant products. It helps to get rid of undigested waste from our body. So in our body, along with the digestion, some undigested food particles are also there. So for the removal of these particles, roughage will help us. Then we can check the sources: whole grains, rice, cabbage, fruits, etc. So if you are taking this properly, we can avoid many bad conditions of our body. So fibrous indigestible material get from plants are known as roughage. It is mainly contains fibers. So if you are taking enough kind of fiber rich food items, it will give proper amount of roughage. It helps to get rid of undigested waste from our body. Sources are whole grains, rice, cabbage, fruit, etc. So our body need a proper quantity of water and roughage for the proper functioning of the body. So these are all about the nutrients in our food. Which are the major nutrients? There are 5 major nutrients are there: carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals. Along with that, water and roughage also. So do you think all these food items, if you are taking all these food items in a proper way, is it sufficient for our body? No, we can't take like that. Instead of that, one diet is there, healthy diet is there. It will give us a proper amount of all these kind of nutrients. So that food is known as balanced diet. Balanced diet is that a diet that has a right proportion of all the nutrients to maintain a good health. It is known as a balanced diet. So if you are following a balanced diet, we can maintain all these nutrients in a level. If you are eating only in any particular quantity of food, all these nutrients are not available to our body. So if you are following a balanced diet, we will get all the nutrients in a correct quantity. So that is about our nutrients. So we studied about the food that we eat, which are the things in our food items, what are the nutrients in our food items, so what are the sources of these nutrients. So now we are going to study about dependence on environment for food. Human beings, plants and animals, we all depend on our environment for our food. So now we can check how we are really dependent on the environment. So our environment contains living things and non-living things. So which are the living things? Yes, plants, animals, human beings, these are the living things in our environment. Which are the non-living things? air, water, soil. These are the non-living things. So the living things and the non-living things have another name. They are called biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components and abiotic components. Biotic components means living things. So which are the living things? People, animals, plants. Abiotic components: air, water, land or soil. So in our environment, biotic components are there and abiotic components are there. All the biotic components and abiotic components depend each other. So now we can check how it is actually depend on each other. All biotic components or living things need energy to live. All living things, that means biotic components like human beings, then plants, animals, they need what? They need food to live. And they also need energy. They eat food. For getting energy, what they will do? They will eat food. From where they are getting food? For example, if you are taking the human being as an example, we will get the food from plants and animals. So our dependence on plants for food. So now we can check human beings, that means we, how we depend on the plants. We get 5 main nutrients from the plants which are essential for balanced diet. Now we studied about the 5 nutrients. These 5 nutrients are available in the plants and also from the animal products. So we really depend on the environment. Then next we can check how it is related. The first nutrient is carbohydrate. We already studied there are 5 nutrients and the first one is carbohydrate. The main source is plants such as cereals, rice, wheat, maize and millets. And sugar is a rich source of carbohydrate. Sugar is extracted from sugarcane. It is also a plant. So the plants are really a rich source of carbohydrate. Next, fats. Fats, example already we studied. That like example many oils, coconut oil, groundnut oil, then sunflower oil, all these oils are available from the plants. Then proteins. Proteins obtained from plants are pulses like yellow lentil, then red lentil and black gram. Other names are common names are given there: urad, moong and masoor. Beans and nuts are good sources of protein. So from this we can understand that plants are a rich source of protein also. Then next is vitamins, that we already studied. The main source of vitamins is plants and vegetables. Main source of vitamins are plants, among plants, fruits and vegetables. Vitamins obtained from plants such as green leafy vegetables and some fruits. Next is minerals. Minerals we already studied the examples: calcium, potassium, iron. These are minerals. So it is obtained from plants. Apples and pomegranates are rich in iron. Vegetables like broccoli, dark green leafy vegetable like spinach are a good source of calcium. Then roughage is obtained from plants. We already studied it is the fibrous portion of the plants. So from all these nutrients, it is available from the plants. So human beings mainly depending on the plants for their food, animals also. So now we studied how we depend on plants for our food. Next is how we depend on animals for our food. Animals are also a good source of food. So mainly we are getting milk, egg, meat, that kind of products from the animal. Milk, eggs and meat are good sources of protein. Butter and ghee made from milk, they are rich sources of fats. Then milk, eggs and fish also contain some amount of vitamins. So from this we can understand that our body needs many kind of nutrients. These nutrients are available from some animal product also. Then dependence of plants and animals on the environment. So now up to this time we discussed about the dependence of living things on plants and animals. So now we can check how the plants and animals depends on the environment. That means how the living things depend on the non-living things. So plants and animals depend on the environment for their food. Plant needs water and sunlight for preparing their food. So what is that process name? Yes, that process name is photosynthesis. For preparing the food, plants needs water and sunlight. Both are abiotic components. And biotic components like plants depend on a biotic components to make their food. So for preparing food, plants needs non-living things. Biotic compounds like animals depend on the abiotic components for the biotic components like animals depends on the biotic components for their food. So plants are preparing the food and the animals and human beings, they have to depend on the plants for their food. Now we can check a diagram. So from this we can easily understand the relation between biotic components and abiotic components. Domestic animals, human beings, plants. These are living things. That means biotic components. Another name is biotic components. Domestic animals, that means animals, human beings, plants. These are living things or biotic components. Next is soil, sunlight and water. They are known as abiotic components. That means they are non-living. So now we can check how they are depend on each other. So plants need soil, sunlight and water for preparing their food. That means plants depends on the abiotic component. Plants are biotic component. They have to depend on abiotic components to prepare their food. Next we can check human beings. They are living things or they are biotic component. They need plants for their food. So from the plants they will take the food in the form of cereals, pulses, vegetables and fruits. So all these things are obtained from plants. So human beings depend on plants. That means biotic components depends on biotic components. Then next is what? Domestic animals. Domestic animals like cow, buffalo, goat and sheep. So from the domestic animals also human being will get the food items. So human beings depends on these products also, dairy products like milk, cheese, butter, yogurt and meat. Dairy products means milk and its product is known as dairy products. So human beings mainly depends on plants and animals for their food. Then now we can check how the domestic animals depends on plants. What is the main food for animals? Plants. So for the domestic animals the food is known as fodder. So domestic animals depends on plants for their food. Then these domestic animals, they will from the domestic animals plants need some manure. Manure means valam. So they need some manure. So from the domestic animal we will get urine and excreta like cow dung. So with the help of the domestic animals plants can grow very easily. So each of the things, biotic component and abiotic component depends on each other. So now we studied how biotic components depends on abiotic components. Biotic component means living things. Example, plants, animals and human being. So they will depend on the abiotic component. Abiotic components means non-living things like soil, water, air. The biotic components have to depend on the abiotic components for their food or for their living. Mainly plants depends on soil, sunlight and water for preparing the food. Then plants are the main source of food for living things. The living things depends each other for their food and survival. So today we studied about different types of nutrients, their sources and uses, and also we studied about the abiotic components and non-abiotic components, biotic and abiotic components, and also how they are dependent each other. Now we can check the assignments. What is a balanced diet? Proteins are called body building food. Why? Explain how plants depend on abiotic components for preparing food. How are human beings dependent on the environment for their food? So write all these question answers to your notebook and also read the textbook very well. So you have to specially read the portion balanced diets. It is not included in your PDF. So you have to read it from the textbook. So we will see in the next class. Thank you.